Tonight, Guts Racing brings us from the Monster Energy Yamaha Star Racing team, Mr. Cooper Webb. What's up, Coop?
What's up, Dark Side? How are you?
We're good, man. How was the game?
Man, it was fun until it wasn't. They're losing, so wasn't a great ending for the Knolls.
I want to start with Indianapolis, your first win ever there. And first thing I want to ask, does that matter to you, like particular stadiums? Like, we know you're really good at Arlington, but does it really matter? Hey, I haven't won in this stadium, or I win at the stadium a lot. Does that affect you going into the race?
I don't think it affects you going in necessarily, but I mean, it definitely is cool to afterwards say, oh man, I got it done or knocked it off there. And Indy was one that, I've gotten a lot of podiums and second places, but yeah, I haven't been able to actually win in the stadium. I mean, does it really matter? No, but I think afterwards it's cool to say that you did, right? Or say that you have. And I think more for the statistics, it's always sounds nice, right? But
yeah.
As far as like when you go to certain stadiums, whether you've won or not, I don't think it plays a huge role, unless for me, obviously Arlington is the one that's nice to me. So yeah, I mean, it's hit or miss. I think it depends who you are.
But going back to Indy, starting the day out, a number of crashes, falling in the sand. Were you struggling at all that morning to like, hey man, this is not going well, and I'm still going to be able to win this thing? Again, kind of like the first question, does it bother you? Does it play a role when you're having an off qualifying in practice?
I think I'm one guy that's proven time after time that qualifying doesn't always directly relate to your night, right?
Yeah.
And same with heat races. I've obviously, when you look at things, I don't somehow or for some reason don't really win the heat races too often. So I don't let that bother me. But I think it was more from my end, just kind of some overriding in practice. And same in the heat, just a dumb mistake, right? You're out front and clear track and just a dumb mistake. Really no rhyme or reason, right? So in those positions, you kind of try to, at least for me, just kind of go, why did it happen? And then, okay, if it happened, how can I fix it? And I think for me, it was I've been putting a lot of emphasis on qualifying. I think just wanting to be in that top three and try to, get a pole that kind of just led to maybe some overriding early. And yeah, had that crash there. And it was one of those that like got up, bike was totally mangled. And then I go out there and set a P2 lap time and felt like I wasn't even trying. So
yeah,
that's kind of the lesson to be learned, right? Is you can definitely override, and especially on a track like Indy where it was, as we saw, super tricky conditions, and it was about just kind of being smoother and nailing your lap versus, if you went out there and overrode, you could easily make mistakes. So, but yeah, I don't put too much emphasis on that. I know when it's main event time, that's when it points pays, right? And that's what really matters. And I feel like I've always done a good job at that.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of knows that about you. And it was interesting, though, that sand caught a lot of people, as it has all year. The sand sections, to me, I know you guys don't love sand and supercrosses, but I feel like this year they've been really good sand sections where they make a difference.
Yeah, no, they have.
But it was really interesting to watch how methodically you would enter this weekend, especially in the first few laps of the main, to make that double to get out fast. Like, it really was a go slower to go faster track.
Yeah, for sure. And like you said, the sand was pretty interesting, and it changes, right? Like the way they prep it, earlier in the day, the inside was by far the preferred line. And then they prep it slightly different to try to make it more raceable, and they make them really big on the inside. So then the outside was the line in the heat. And yeah, I mean, I hadn't gone outside all day. So I think, like you said, the sand itself, like you said, as racers, we're not huge fans of it, but it has been a bit more raceable this year, which I think is a good thing, right? If you're going to have a section, then it needs to create maybe some passing opportunities or multiple lines and stuff like that. And all the sand's actually even been different texture, different kind of sand, which has been nice. And I think this weekend was a testament to that. Like you saw a lot of guys going down because it was like a grainier, like kind of slick on top, but then deep underneath stand, and it had a lot of moisture in it. And but yeah, then like you said, for me in the main event, I knew if I could jump that wall, how quick it would be. So yeah, I was able to kind of give up a little bit at the beginning to get it at the end, and I think that was definitely a time saver from my end for sure.
Speed versus racecraft, right? We've always heard Cooper Webb's got that racecraft. He's got that dog in him, but he doesn't have the raw speed. And I think I said during that press conference, if you look at some of your fastest lap times or average lap times, especially this year, you're the fastest guy a lot. I think you had the fastest lap time and maybe the fastest average lap time of this weekend, and that's been the case a lot.
Yeah.
So let's put that to bed. I don't know how we get everybody else to put that to bed, but yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
I've always been one to not really care what people think, right? But I think when a lot of people maybe are talking qualifying, and
yeah,
like I said, that's fair, right? Like I haven't set a pole this year. I have very seldom pole positions, so that's definitely fair to say. But yeah, as far as when the main event comes and it's gate drop and that's the points pair, like you said, I think there's a lot of times where I am right there in the mix with being the fastest or within a few tenths of that. And like you said, to me, there's nights, where maybe there are guys that are super on it and they're just faster than you. But I feel like that's not the case by any means every single weekend, like it maybe comes out to be by the fans or media or whatever the case is. And maybe it's like I've always said, I'm not super flashy, right? So
that's exactly what I was about to say. It's not, you don't scrub, and like you might look at a Chase Sexton or a Jet and they look way, way faster, but the speed difference isn't that much because of the racecraft probably, right? You're cutting down low and it's a different type of racing, but in the end it works.
Yeah. And like you said, I think this weekend when I looked, I think I had the fastest time by half a second. Right. Mm-hmm. And that's a pretty big, in my opinion, a pretty big margin, and with how close the class is. Right. So, but it wasn't flashy. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't, anything out of the world. So, but like I said, it doesn't bother me. I know what I bring to the table. And like I said, I feel like this weekend was a perfect kind of scenario to show, like, man, I have the speed to battle with anyone I need to battle or contend or whatever the case is, right? If I didn't, I would have likely gotten chased down and passed and left, right? Yep. So, it's always a great debate, though, that's for sure.
So coming into this season with the off-season incident and then being sick and the first couple rounds not going well, and I talked to you at San Diego and you said that you were planning on making a mid-season East. Once you got East, that was when you were going to start your push.
Yeah.
But honestly, coming in, what was your confidence level that, hey, you could actually be a title contender by mid-season?
I mean, me personally, it was still good. I don't doubt myself, Obviously, I was banking on things going my way, and staying in the fight was going to be important. But yeah, with my off-season injury, it was definitely something where it put us behind the 8 ball. Mm-hmm. But for me, I was relying on just my overall experience, and there was no changes with the bike this year. I knew the training and the block that I had put in was big. It kind of worked out where, after Nations, I didn't really take much time off, and was able to get good laps for that and race Paris and all that and Oz. So I kind of knew where I sat. But when you take time off the bike, and especially the few weeks I had to take off, you're always kind of questioning things. But I don't know. I just had a good feeling about it all. Like I always have. I mean, that's kind of been my goal ever since becoming a 450 champ, has always been stay in it as long as you can until it goes East. And that's kind of how it's always played out. Right. So obviously, as we know, there was injuries, and, the beginning of the season, Eli was riding well. I mean, we saw Jet had good nights, but he also had some bad nights. So there ain't no telling, which way that would have went or which way it does end up going. But like I said, I think for me, the timing was really good. My goal is to always leave top 5, leaving the West Coast. And yeah, we were able to do that. And I don't know. I think I'm just at the point in my career where I don't panic or stress things anymore. I know what I just have a belief in myself, and at least, and especially in Supercross, that when I line up that I always have a chance, right? So that's just kind of what I stuck to, and as of right this second, it's going pretty well at the moment.
You just made the comment Mount Rushmore, and there's a topic that me and the guys were talking about before the show we wanted to get into, and I want to do this with you a little bit. Legacy of the greats, right? You're tied with RJ for Supercross wins, 9th all time. But when I think of the greats, I think of also outdoor titles. Are you one of the greats if you don't have more success outdoors than you've had? And it's hard for me to put you on the Mount Rushmore because of that. If we say Supercross only, absolutely.
Oh, sure. Yeah, rightfully so.
So how do you feel about that statement, and what's it going to take to win an outdoor title?
Well, I think everything you said is fair. It's definitely something that's always been on my mind. Of, like I said, I mean, I only have one outdoor win in the 450 class, and I do have a 250 championship and wins obviously there. But on the 450 side, I only have, I think 6 or 7 podiums and one win. So for me, it's something I definitely feel, like you said, I need to establish myself more as an outdoor guy, and I think I am definitely capable. It just has, the last few years definitely have been up and down with injuries. And like I said, for me, it was some years we just did Supercross, and even on the before that, it hasn't worked out for whatever reason. With that being said, I do think at this exact moment, my Supercross riding is a bit better, right? So
yeah.
For me, that's the goal this year, right? Is I want to be back in that mix. I think I'm capable of it. I'm excited. I feel like I have the bike and the platform to go out and do really well this summer. But with that being said, I think it's, at least going into this summer, like, you got to jump before you, you got to crawl before you walk. And I haven't done a complete outdoor season since 2021. So I think for me, I need to get those gate drops. I need to, get it going, and could I go out there and win outdoors and win an outdoor race? It's definitely possible, but I think I need to be realistic with myself and go, okay, I need to, 1, be at every round, and then 2, I think if I can be in that top 5 and constantly keep building from there, then that could put me in a great position at the end of the year. And but yes, I do agree with you. I think my outdoors need to get better, and it's something that we're definitely working on. And like I said, I have the platform right now to where last year, I mean, I just had to get through Supercross with my thumb injury and get the thing fixed right away, right? So like, that was something where just didn't work out. And like I said, years before, it was, I think the 1 year on KTM, it was my option to not, but unfortunately I just had a lot of injuries throughout the summertime, and haven't been able to stay healthy. So that's just something that I'm going to have to do.